This is the Newsroom.
This is the Newsroom for Tuesday, May 27, 2025. We're broadcasting to you on E1, SKAR TV, NTN, and TARZEE TV in Bartica. In the headlines, the President says the 2025 general and regional elections will be on September 1, but GECOM Commissioners clash over the body's readiness. Venezuela's sham elections rejected across border communities.
I ain't gonna allow them to brainwash me neither. Let's stand up for himself.
As the probe into the explosions at a police outpost and GPL substation continue, a minibus driver has been arrested. Residents rejoice as house lots distributed in Region 1, and in sport, Guyana to host historic international bodybuilding pro card qualifier in June, and the Guyana Lottery Company confirms alliance with One Guyana T10 Tapeball Blast. With the news, I am Shania Ali. Thank you for joining us. President Dr. Irfaan Ali on Sunday night announced that Guyana's general and regional elections will be held on Monday, September 1, 2025. The Guyanese head of state made the announcement as he gave his presidential address for Guyana's 59th independence anniversary. The anniversary celebrations were at Albion Berbice this year. Dr. Ali said this decision comes after he engaged the chairwoman of the Guyana Elections Commission, or GECOM, retired Justice Claudette Singh, and has been assured of the Commission's readiness to hold elections on this date.
In keeping with the tenets of democracy and the construct of our Constitution, I had discussions with the chairwoman of GECOM, and having been assured of their readiness, I decided to name the 1st of September 2025 as a date for national and regional elections. The 1st of September 2025 as a date for national and regional elections. Let me be clear, the 1st of September 2025 as the date for national and regional elections, and in keeping with the Constitution, soon I will issue the proclamation dissolving the Parliament.
2 days after President Dr. Irfaan Ali announced that the 2025 general and regional elections will be held on September 1, GECOM's commissioners are divided on the body's readiness.
Vincent Alexander, Charles Corbin, and Desmond Trotman, the opposition-nominated Guyana Elections Commission GECOM commissioners, do not believe that the body would be ready to conduct elections by September 1st. At a press conference on Tuesday, the opposition-nominated commissioners stated that they were not involved in the decision for the elections date announced by President Irfaan Ali recently.
While recognizing that it's the President's prerogative to determine the election date, it is crass for him to have done so based on the purported chairman's guidance, which clearly misrepresented the CEO's projected date of September 22nd, and the fact that even the proposed date was still under consideration and not yet agreed.
According to Alexander, at the last meeting of the 7-member commission on May 20th, 2025, the September 22nd date was still being discussed. Another meeting scheduled for May 22nd was postponed. The commissioners claim that GECOM has crafted a new work plan to match a commitment given by the chairman, Justice retired Claudette Singh, to the president.
GECOM seems hell-bent on retaining its broken system. It has also been brought to our attention that the administration of GECOM has crafted a new work plan to facilitate the undertaking that the chairperson seemed to have given the president. A cursory review of that plan suggests that changes have been made to timelines in the plan to reduce the previously estimated time frame by 21 days. Those changes have affected the timelines traditionally used for claims and objections submission of the list of candidates, among other requirements, and even statutory deadlines, as in the instance of the time provided for appeals by parties in relation to the list of nominees.
PPP nominated Commissioner says Gunraj disagreed with many of the assertions made and posited that GECOM would be ready for elections on September 1st.
I did indicate that the Constitution provides, generally, the spirit and letter of the Constitution provides for elections to be held within 90 days. The naming of the date by the President exceeds 90 days, so I have every confidence that it can be done and done effectively in that time.
Gunraj also explained that GECOM has two mandates, one for registration and another for holding elections, and reaffirmed that setting a date lies within the President's prerogative. Meanwhile, a scheduled GECOM meeting on Tuesday afternoon was abandoned after the three opposition-nominated commissioners walked out. For GECOM to continue its mandate and work, Gunraj pointed to the constitutional provisions to address such disruptions.
In the absence of that quorum, the chairman is obliged to give notice of a meeting no less than 48 hours after the non-quorate meeting. So I'd hope that the chairman will take the initiative and give that notice so that we can have a meeting within 48 hours of this adjourned one. GECOM's work must go on. This nation's work must go on. And as a consequence, I would hope, and it's the chairman's initiative and chairman's prerogative to set those notices, but I will only hope that the chairman exercises strict compliance with that provision of the Constitution to ensure that meetings are held regularly, and the work of the Commission is executed without delay.
For Newsroom, it's Anela Patwell.
Venezuela's sham elections for governor and other representatives of Guyana's Essequibo region were widely condemned. But even so, the country forged ahead with its plans on Sunday. The newsroom's Vishani Ragobir and Shakanil Burnett were part of a group of local journalists visiting border communities in Region 1, Barima-Waini. There was no evidence of Venezuelan elections unfolding in Guyana's territory, and the affirmation of Guyana's territorial integrity, sovereignty, and readiness to protect itself was strong. More details in this report.
Lush vegetation covers much of Guyana's northernmost region, that is Region 1, Barima-Waini. Indigenous communities like the tiny community of Baramita are scattered throughout this region. From above, you might notice buildings appearing like dots among the trees. On Sunday, when a group of local journalists traveled to Baramita, those buildings, other structures and even vehicles were all decorated with Guyana's national flag, the golden arrowhead. Children were at the community airstrip waving those flags with a strong message for visitors.
G-U-Y-A-N-A. Guyana belongs to us!
The flags decorating the village and the message from the children were intentional. Baramita, which is about 15 miles from the border with Venezuela, was rejecting an election in that country and celebrating Guyana's independence. Venezuela went ahead with an election on Sunday, a day before Guyana's 59th independence anniversary, for governor and other representatives for Guyana's Essequibo region, despite widespread condemnation and an order against doing so from the International Court of Justice. In Baramita, the residents told reporters that no elections or election-related activities like campaigning had taken place. The community's deputy to Shao, Yanita James, was among the residents against the election.
Essequibo is Guyana. I'm not going to allow them to brainwash me neither. We would stand up for themselves.
Village elder Jocelyn Henry echoed similar sentiments, though she expressed herself in her native Carib language.
Essequibo, Guyana, Guyana, Essequibo, Guyana, Essequibo, Guyana, Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
The Venezuelan elections had taken place, but in Venezuela, not Guyana. In other border communities in Region 1, like Arakaca, Residents spoke to journalists on the fact-finding mission about what was happening.
Nobody came, nobody said anything. We didn't even see few Venezuelans, even the few that was around there, most of them moved off. So we got no problem as far as the elections are concerned and campaign and stuff like that. Everything is quiet. We live well with the few we got, like I said, it's only very few of them, but we live well with them, no problem. But as far as we're concerned, we're not worried with those propagandas. Everybody take very little notice of it. But of course, some other persons are just, using it to their advantage.
Over in Imbataro, the community that sits at the border with Venezuela, policemen and soldiers were keeping a watchful eye. Soldiers and officers are stationed here and in other border areas. Though the border is constantly patrolled, residents are still uneasy because of Venezuela's aggressions and actions, like conducting the sham election.
I feel sad about it because the border then near next to Bartica. And this small Matakai need more police and guard through the river and through the road.
Guyana's National Security Advisor, Captain Jerry Gavaya, however, addressed these concerns.
Military deployment and police deployment is directly proportional to the threat that we feel, and if they're imminent issues. We fortunately at this time, the strength of our military in the ground here is indicative of the assessment of the threat by the military high command. But certainly the ability to be able to reinforce this area quickly. We have soldiers at Port Kaituma and Mabruma. And then we constantly have patrols. Even though you see these here, you have patrols on the borders, you have soldiers moving through the jungle all the time. This is a big jungle area, so this is not about large volumes of troops. This is about having domain awareness of what is happening around us.
Captain Gavaya joined journalists for the fact-finding mission to the border communities. In Baramita, he engaged residents who gathered at the community building dressed in white shirts that read, "Essequibo is ours." The Essequibo region is internationally recognized as Guyana's territory, and it has been governed by Guyana. But Venezuela for decades has claimed this region. Guyana believes that the border between itself and Venezuela was settled through the 1899 Arbitral Award, and it has taken the border controversy to the International Court of Justice, seeking a final binding ruling reaffirming that arbitral award and essentially reaffirming that Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Though that court case is ongoing, Venezuela has continued to escalate tensions. For the newsroom, Bashani Ragabir.
Several residents from Region 1, Barima Waini, are now one step closer to owning their own homes and living independently after being allocated house lots in Tract A, Mabaruma, a new housing scheme in the region. The allocations were done as the Ministry of Housing and Water hosted a housing drive in Mabaruma on Tuesday. Sharda Bacchus reports from Mabaruma.
I'm here in Mabaruma in Region 1, Barima Waini. Here, the Ministry of Housing and Water on Tuesday held yet another housing drive. The activity saw several residents across the region being allocated house lots. The allocations were done in a new housing scheme, which is called Tract A Mabaruma. We spoke to some of the residents, and they expressed what this means to them.
I happy because you get a chance to own something for yourself, At least you got children and anything, they could inherit it. Yeah, I want to build a big house, a dream house. At least for your kids.
I'm very happy because it's a dream come true because we've been waiting for a while. Nearly 8 years to be exact. I have 2 children and it would mean a lot to get somewhere, to own somewhere of your own.
The development of Tract A Mabaruma is the second such venture in the region. This housing scheme consists of 55 residential lots.
We are here today to commence a second housing scheme under the People's Progressive Party civic government. And this one will be Tract A Mabaruma, lease 7625, 7,625. That's what we're here to commence. All the persons who will be allocated, you will receive a letter, a signed letter. And that letter says to you our commitment of ensuring that the infrastructure work is done. So the point is, we're not waiting. All the persons who will be allocated on this new Mabruma area for housing development will get access to their land before the year is finished.
At the long-awaited exercise, residents were able to have their queries addressed as well as apply for house lots. Several residents who have been waiting for more than a decade also received their titles. For the newsroom, Sharda Bacchus.
Still to come, a minibus driver who transported the 3 men allegedly involved in the recent explosions at East Rumveld Police Outpost and GPL substation have been arrested. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. Investigators probing the explosions at the East Rumveld Police Outpost and the Guyana Power and Light substation in Georgetown have arrested a local minibus driver and detained a vehicle which was reportedly used to transport the 3 men allegedly responsible for the attacks of terrorism. This was confirmed by Crime Chief Wendell Blanham, who told the newsroom that detectives are actively pursuing 3 foreign nationals involved in the crime. 2 of the suspects are Spanish-speaking individuals. The 3rd suspect, who goes by the alias Flevio Tasso, is a Brazilian. The newsroom was told that investigators have evidence, including that gathered from CCTV footage, linking the suspects to the explosions. Police on Tuesday issued wanted bulletins for the 3 suspects, who they said are wanted for terrorism. The newsroom understands that as the investigation widens, the minibus driver was arrested. He reportedly assisted the suspects with renting rooms at a hotel in the Stevedore housing scheme, Georgetown. Over the past 4.5 years, over 90 new housing areas were developed across the country, Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell said at a housing drive held in Mabaruma, Region 1. During this period, over 48,000 house lots were allocated. The development of these new housing areas aligns with the government's aim of making housing affordable and accessible to all citizens.
Since we've gotten into office, in 5 years, we have started up over 90 new housing areas across every region of our country, across all 83,000 square miles. So, starting this Friday, we will have an exercise for all of those new areas that we have allocated in the country to take persons to show them where their land will be, the area where their lot will be, while they await the infrastructure work to be done, so that they'll have another follow-up exercise where the individual lots, they'll be taken to their individual lots.
Amid the expansion of the Board of Industrial Training Programs into hinterland communities in Guyana, Labour Minister Joseph Hamilton has said empowerment training programs are readily available for Indigenous communities. In an interview with reporters last week, the minister said the Tushaus are encouraged to make applications for additional training programs with specific skill sets to be conducted.
Some of the programs have started. Many of them we are waiting on the village to, because what we do, we ensure that the trainers belong to the village. So when we pay money, money stays in the village. We don't import people into a village to train. So I can assure you that in 4 or 5 months' time, all the training programs we have in the hinterland, they will be completed. We have started in several areas. Many of them made specific requests, and we have committed to honoring those requests. And even for those who are yet to submit requests to us, now it's not too late. They can still submit requests to us so that we can do the training in their community.
The Board of Industrial Training, or BIT, continues to explore more training opportunities for persons, but has already noted that some 60% of 13,000 recorded persons trained are women and girls. This was highlighted by Labour Minister Joseph Hamilton on Friday. He also said BIT is currently expanding its reach in Region 7, Kayuni-Mazaruni, with some 2,000 persons expected to be trained for gold mining in the region.
60% of those persons who were trained were females, and we are proud of that record. We have a program for women that is funded by the World Bank. We have a program where we to train over 2,000 persons for major goal development in Region 7. We have already started. At the moment, 200 persons are in training in 5-6 areas. Presently, we are engaged in celebrating BIT's 115th year. BIT has been around since 1910. I would want to believe it's one of the longest established national institutions in Guyana. So we're celebrating the 115th year, we have had several exhibitions in different regions.
Persons with unexplained muscle pain, weakness, or numbness no longer need to travel abroad for diagnostic tests and can begin the process of recovery much faster, as the Woodlands Hospital in Georgetown now offers electromyography services. Electromyography, or EMG for short, is a diagnostic test that helps uncover the root of nerve and muscle issues. And neurologist Dr. Alex Prasad explains that Guyanese can access this right at home for the first time ever. All in all, EMG services at the Woodlands Hospital make healthcare much more accessible.
Needle EMG, or EMG as a whole, consists of the nerve conduction studies and the needle EMG. These are tests that are specific to the nervous system. They enable the neurologist to study the peripheral nerves, better able to localize the lesion, better able to give you a diagnosis and a prognosis of these peripheral disorders, whether it be it in the muscle, the nerves, or the neuromuscular junction. Patients can benefit from this study, whether they present with various peripheral nervous system complaints, such as motor dysfunction or sensory dysfunction. These tests usually are applicable to patients with a variety of disorders affecting the nervous system, including the muscle, neuromuscular junction, the peripheral nervous system, all the way up to the cell body of that nerve. Woodlands Hospital is the only place currently offering EMG studies, electrodiagnostic studies. Prior to us offering this service, we used to have patients travel overseas to get this study. So it's actually saving patients time and money, so they would have a timely diagnosis and the necessary treatment that is required. So here at Woodlands, we have the Natus Viking, which is one of the state-of-the-art equipment that is used for these kinds of study, and not just in Guyana, but internationally. This is one of the US most recognizable brand. So patients should rest assured that the quality of study is comparable to that of overseas. Patients, first of all, they have these complaints, they go to a physician, and the physicians generally refer the patient to the EMG to have those tests done. Usually what we do is initially do an electrodiagnostic evaluation where we validate the test if it's really and truly warranted, and then we would make specific recommendations to the different tests. Usually the EMG and the nerve conduction study, they're done concurrently, and one complements the other, and we get that test done in perhaps like about half an hour to an hour. The first part we usually do is the nerve conduction study to make sure the nerves are actually functioning well, and we test, for example, the velocity of the nerve conduction study, amongst other things. And then later on, we do the needle EMG part. So the patients are usually, they're explained usually the procedure, how it's done, and the preparation. It's usually connecting electrodes to the muscle that would correspond to the nerve affecting, and we would normally do a little stimulation. Patients would normally feel a little tingly sensation, a little minute electrical shock, and we would able to capture it on the machine and determine the level of conduction or the affectation the patient might have. In the actual preparation for the day of the test, patients are asked not to, perhaps a day or two before the test, not to use any oils, any cream on the skin that might cause any impedance when we're using the electrodes to make a proper contact with the skin. The other thing is, if the patient they have to do the needle EMG part, since it's the more invasive part of the test, where we would take the needle to introduce it into the muscle to look for the activity. If patients, they usually bleed easily or they're on any blood thinners, such as warfarin, they should let us know to avoid any complications. After the test, patients would normally, the bleeding would stop. It's just a very small needle that is being introduced into the muscle, so bleeding should be very minimal. And the other part is patients usually worry afterwards what happens after the little shock is, or the needle that is being used. They would feel a little pain, perhaps just a day or two, and any painkiller should reduce the discomfort. Very good.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather, and bridge reports, along with sport news. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some bodybuilding news. History beckons as the 6th edition of the Stage of Champions event has been granted International Fitness and Bodybuilding Federation Pro Qualifier status. This marks the first time such an event will be held in the country, offering local and regional athletes a direct pathway to professional status. The Stage of Champions will occur on June 7th at the National Cultural Center in Georgetown. Akeem Green tells us more.
Winning an IFBB Pro card allows athletes to compete in the prestigious IFBB Pro League, opening doors to lucrative prize money and the highest levels of the sport globally.
We have made history in Guyana, where Stages Champion has become a pro qualifying show. So we are officially handed out pro cards in Guyana, which will be bringing tremendous amount of traffic to Guyana. I just want to say it is amazing honor once again to be a part of this historic achievement.
According to Vidas Sukram, the event's founder, the journey to this point has been significant.
We having a pro card event in Guyana is something that we should all be proud of, not only as bodybuilders or fitness people, but as a country. Because this is something that we've been working on for years. I've been on the board for 18 years. Now, retired from the Bodybuilding Federation, but still working to help the sport to grow every day.
The event will feature elite physiques from across the Caribbean and beyond, with athletes confirmed from Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, and Barbados, among other nations thus far. The IFBB and CAC certified international officials will judge the competition. 3 coveted IFBB Pro cards will be awarded across the bodybuilding, men's physique, and bikini categories. The stakes are high, with the overall bodybuilding champion set to receive Guyana $600,000 and the men's physique champion Guyana $300,000. $100,000. Traditional bodybuilding categories will offer Guyana $200,000 for first place, $100,000 for second, and $60,000 for third across various weight classes.
Now, the Guyana Lottery Company is the latest entity to pledge its support to the popular Keir's One Guyana T10 Tapeball Blast, set to commence on June 28th in Berbice. On Tuesday at its Lamaha Street headquarters, representatives from the company and the organizing body spoke about their shared agenda to make the common man
moves from within the central plain area in Georgetown and East Coast Demerara to some communities in all counties. The target is 80 teams in its third year, well more than double the 32 teams from the first 2 years. More community grounds and community teams are set to be utilized, with the finals moving to more premier locations.
The Guyana Lottery Company Limited is proud to be a diamond sponsor for the One Guyana T10 Tapeball Blast cricket competition. Over the years, you would have noted the Guyana Lottery Company has been a sponsor of cricket in many forms and in various ways. We have partners through our Let's Bet brand in previous years to support cricket in Berbice. So we've supported corporate cricket, competition and friendly matches. And so we believe in the unity and the passion that cricket brings across Guyana, and we do believe we're particularly happy to be associated with this competition because it's being played across Guyana in Essequibo, Demerara, and Berbice, and the lottery is spread across all the regions, all the counties of Guyana, and so we think that this is a very good way of connecting with our players. We do believe in supporting and nurturing talent at a community level, at a grassroots level, and we see, based on the previous year of this competition, we see that the pride it brings to community and the engagement that it encourages, and so we want to be associated with that, and we want to let people know that we support talent, we support positive community enrichment, and so we're happy to be on board this year.
What the lottery company will bring in this year that's different to our tournament over the past few seasons is that they'll be branding the commentators, so the broadcast team will be known perhaps maybe as the Guyana Lottery Company broadcast team. That's something that they're stepping the game up as well, the lottery company. And it's good to know that they're also going in every area with the tournament. Berbice, where we start in, we'll be having their presence felt, and when we finish our preliminaries in Essequibo, they'll be there as well. So taking the tournament, taking lottery company with us, it means a lot because it's a big brand and they're associated themselves. It's a good partnership, really, and we embrace this partnership for this entire tournament.
The tournament will be held in the Berbice zone from July 28 to 29, the East Bank West Demerara zone from July 5th to 6th, the Georgetown East Coast zone combined from July 19 to 20, the Essequibo zone from July 26 to 27, and the championship finals from August 3rd at the National Stadium, Providence. Meanwhile, registration for the third edition is underway, and based on enthusiastic response, FL Sport anticipates reaching its target very soon. The winning team from each zone will pocket $300,000 and an automatic qualification to the national finals. The ultimate national champion will be awarded a staggering $1.7 million, while the national runners-up will receive $700,000. The two losing semi-finals each will receive $300,000, and the losing semi-finalists at the zone level will also receive $100,000 each. Individual player performances are also significantly incentivized with attractive cash prizes and awards.
Now, Casey Carty scored a second consecutive century in a commanding West Indies victory over Ireland that earned a draw in the one-day international series. Ireland won the opening match of the series by 124 runs on Wednesday, but Friday's second meeting ended without a result after a 2-hour rain delay. In Sunday's third game, Carty again led the way for the visitors with his unbeaten 170, part of an imposing total of 385, although Ireland's revised target was set at 363 because of a reduction of overs after rain. With bowlers Jordan Neal and Josh Little unable to bat after injuries sustained during West Indies innings, Ireland lost 8 wickets for 165 runs and were beaten by 197 runs under the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method.
Another fabulous innings from you, your highest score. Just following up on what you did in the previous game, just talk us through the innings and how much it means to you.
Well, obviously coming off
100 the game before, you just try to do the same things to get yourself in. And we know we needed a must-win today, so we decided that we're going to accelerate a bit more today as a team, and that was just the intent.
Yeah, the joint 6th highest score for the West Indies ever in ODI cricket. Almost a double century, but still 170. The tempo that you generated, especially between the rain breaks, how were you able to do it?
Just back your skills, you know, I was in and I trusted the pitch. The pitch was not as hostile this time around, so we as batters could have be a bit more flamboyant, and I just trust my skills and try to execute.
Yeah, player of the match, player of the series. Your reaction to that, seeing that the team actually found a way to win the game?
I mean, this is my job, you know. We practice to perform on the pitch, and I was just glad to be a part of or have an impact on today's win. Sadly, we couldn't get a result out of game 2, even though we had a very good total up on the board. But the series is drawn, and we didn't lose the series, so it's just to carry this momentum into the England series.
And talking about the England series, how much of the learnings you're looking to take from here, and a different challenge? Obviously.
Well, definitely everything. I feel like conditions would be very similar, so it's just to keep practicing the good stuff, you know, the stuff that we need to do to excel as an ODI team and implement it in that series.
And England withstood all-rounder Hayley Matthews' brilliance to win the 3rd and final T20 by 17 runs and complete a dominant series sweep. Matthews was playing a lone hand in West Indies' pursuit of 145 for a consolation win, but a rain delay with 48 runs required from the last 26 balls disrupted the chase. They slipped from 109 for 3 to 127 for 8, with Lorraine Bell claiming the game-changing wicket of Matthews for a sublime 7-1 from 54 balls in the 18th over. Matthews claimed 3 for 32 in England's 144 for 5, leading West Indies' much improved bowling performance, but the former captain had the Knights' unbeaten 66 from 47 balls, ensured England just had enough runs on the board. For her series levelling 177 runs and 3 wickets, Matthews was named player of the series.
Obviously really good to be able to go out there and score some runs and get some wickets as well. But yeah, definitely a closer game today, and one that we felt that we competed in really well, so would have loved to get over the line.
We'll talk about the team in a second. Talk about your own personal form. What's been the key to your success over the last 12 to 18 months?
I think just having some really strong plans and playing to my strengths at all time. I feel like I've been fortunate enough to get to play a lot of T20 cricket around the world and gain a lot of experience and learn a lot more about my game and just put my plans into practice. And thankfully, since I've been here, I've been able to execute pretty well.
You wanted to play a lot of youngsters today. How pleased were you of their performances?
Yeah, really happy. I think like Jazara Claxton, she obviously came in that first innings and bowled beautifully on debut to get her first wicket, but also to showcase her talent with the amount of variations that she was able to use today, and then Rialana Grimman getting her second match today and definitely looked a lot better at the crease today, which I know she'll be happy about. So super proud that they were able to get an opportunity today.
Far more competitive with the ball and in the field. You've got to be feeling good about that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think Zeta James definitely set the tone twice now, getting that first wicket. But yeah, 100%. Like, I think we definitely fielded a lot better and executed our plans a lot nicer too when we were bowling. But yeah, unfortunately just not able to chase it in the end.
It's such a shame for you because you were motoring at one stage and the rain coming just at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think, look, nothing you can really do about that. Obviously stop the flow just a bit. But yeah, nothing you can really do about the nature. Is England at the end of the day. So I heard Cap say something about the English summer, so not expecting much different.
And finally in sport, Jitish Sharma played an innings for the ages, blasting an unbeaten 85 of 33 balls to lift Royal Challengers Bengaluru to a sizzling 6-wicket win over home side Lucknow Super Giants. The win secured RCB a spot in Qualifier 1 against the table toppers Punjab Kings on Thursday from 10 hours. Sharma struck 6 sixes and 8 fours and dominated an unbroken partnership of 107 with Mayank Agarwal as RCB chased down 228 with 8 balls to spare. Agarwal made 41 not out of 23. The pair came together after the dismissal of Virat Kohli for 54 of 30, and Sharma went on the offensive to draw RCB level on points with Punjab Kings at the top of the table after the preliminary phase. Earlier, Rishabh Pant ended a largely disappointing personal tournament with a cracking 118 of 61 balls, adding a huge partnership with the informed Mitch Marsh. The Pant struck 8 sixes and 11 fours in a partnership of 152 for the second wicket with Marsh, who made 67 of 37. Nuwan Tisara, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Romario Shepherd took a wicket each. Today's result means that Mumbai Indians and Gujarat Titans will play the eliminator on Friday. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, and all social media platforms. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.